would take away Boone's extraterritorial jurisdiction over the land in the county. What is your stance on it?
Well, my stance should be pretty clear since I'm the one who submitted the bill. What I did is I've heard for over a decade the challenges people have out in the county. Here is the kernel of the issue. When you look at the principle of why you get behind a bill when you submit it, is property rights. Property rights is absolutely essential for a free society and a robust economy. A little bit of background on ETJ. What you've got is you've got a town of Boone that's reaching outside its borders to tell people what they can and can't do with their land. I call that regulation of representation. And what happens is those people out in the district, they can vote for me. They can vote me in, they can vote me out. They have no say in any effective way in the town of Boone. And I think that's a critical problem with people's rights being violated in that way. Now, when I submitted this bill, what I did was, the first thing I did was I met with the town of Boone and talked to them. I asked them questions such as, what are you doing with the ETJ? And they said, well, we're just going to keep it that way. ETJ was created to move towards annexation, to give the town the ability to expand. It wasn't designed for a regulatory indefinite limbo. I've talked to real estate agents, I've talked to people who have to pay money, and lawyers, and land that can't be sold, and how people that won't move into the area because of the restrictions and the abuses they've had from the town of Boone. So I submitted the bill because what it does is it begins a dialogue. We began a dialogue, we talked to people in the ETJ, talked with the town of Boone, I talked with everyone involved so we could look at really critical issues, people that haven't had a voice for a long time. I gave them a voice, and that was the process of the ETJ bill, to create a voice so people's property rights, which are essential in a free society, could be heard and could be discussed.
Mr. Carter, same question. There was a bill proposed over the summer that would take away Boone's extraterritorial jurisdiction over the land in the county. What is your stance on this issue?
Well, I think this issue, we're talking about representation. The people that want to stay in the ETJ have had no ability to voice that. I don't remember that we've had any town hall meetings. I don't remember that we've had any forums with the entire citizenry to do that. I think it's a bad precedent that's said. It looks like tit-for-tat politics to me. A few people complain, then we introduce a bill. If the ETJ was just set up to be something toward annexation, so I'm sure my opponent, what he is thinking he needs to do is enter the same bill for West Jefferson, for Granite Falls, for Manor Elk, for Hudson, and for every small town in the district. If that is his logic. As a previous forum, my opponent, Mr. Soucek, said that people had complained to him for 10 to 15 years. I find it hard to believe that 10 years ago people were complaining to him when he was that new, and 15 years ago I don't believe he lived here. So I guess he was flying an airplane around and people were calling him complaining about the ETJ. So we don't want to exaggerate the problem. So my stance is let local government, let's really meet, let's talk, let's have the forums, let's have the town hall meetings. Because in all this talk that's been going on, he's had all these people talking to him. I know he's the elected official, I'm the opponent, but not one person in Watauga County, not one, has approached me about the ETJ except the people that say we want the protection of the ETJ. Not the only person that have talked to me, Seven Oaks, people out in the communities, and some of them are actually relatives of people that are really pushing for the dropping of the ETJ because they want the protection.
Well, thank you. He said something very correct. He said people haven't had a chance to voice it. I have an email from a town council member, just like he said, that says no one's approached me with this issue. How can no one? A week does not go by where someone doesn't come up to me and say, thank you for introducing this bill. We've been abused by this. He mentions why about the other towns. I talked to these other towns. I have not seen the gross abuses in these other towns I saw in the town of Boone. People needed to have someone stand up for them. The town of Boone wouldn't listen to them. We've heard that he hasn't heard from anyone. Obvious that he hasn't been listening because people have been talking about it for an incredibly long time. So thank you. Sorry.
Mr. Carter?
Again, I'll reiterate, not one person has mentioned it to me, and I've been campaigning now for about 6 months. And I'm not talking about just getting the town council together. I'm talking about as an elected official, if this comes up and I go to Raleigh, I will have town hall meetings. I will invite the public. I will want everybody to have some input, not just a select few, a gang of a select few. Thank you.
Mr. Herman?